I think we all appreciate the energy with which she gave her speech from start to the end. We need that energy. It's an asset. It's a resource. There is such a huge task which is out there. When you cover such a broad spectrum of needs of a nation, there is a big need for resources, and those resources have to be raised from somewhere. And then there is prioritization. You focus on what most needs to be done, and I believe it's been done very well. It's been done over a broad spectrum. Direct tax. Collections have gone up. Tax net has gone up. Improvements are taking place. There is a task force in place for simplification, rationalization, and getting global best practices into India Income Tax Act. So that is still to come. They've been asked to give their report. It's an extended time by 31st July. So a lot of change. This is not an amendment to the Income Tax Act or a recarving of the Income Tax Act in its fundamental form. These are budget matters, and very appropriate points have been taken. I may also mention that some of the points taken by her are those suggested by our chamber. We are indeed very grateful for that. The first point, 25% tax rate, turnover up to 400 crores. Well, we had requested, please make it 25% for all companies, regardless of a turnover limit. But 99.3% of companies are covered by the enhancement to 400 crores. That's huge. One important point, we always need to see the fine print. So 25% for companies having a certain prescribed turnover was as in year 17-18. Now, if for some reason you don't have a company at that time, or in that year your turnover was more, but this year it is less, it may not be covered by the change, but I need to, and we all need to read the fine print on that. Is there any change in the year which is to be seen? Or will it be the year of assessment, or will it, like before, be more than 400 crores, but only up to that year, in that year? There has been, she clearly stipulated, she wants to incentivize growth, housing, startups, digital economy, and simplification of taxes. And her points have clearly covered these. What is also interesting is the importance given to startups. Now, we all appreciate that startups mean innovativeness. This is dear to our country. It means employment. It means possibly small scale. It means giving bright young people an opportunity to build a business. So there is, and it also means new age skills, products, technologies, and opportunities. So startups are something which are a thrust focus as far as our country is concerned, and they deserve to be that. Now, what are the problems she has mitigated, reduced? You have a great idea, a great new product, you are on your way up, and you get an investor to come in, and he values your share at a high price. So an angel investor. Your face value may be 10, your time may be 1 year, but he's taken the shares for 100 rupees. Now, is that premium, which is his belief in your capability, your technology, your product, your future, and it is global. This is how this business is done. Who is to decide that that amount is an excess amount which should be taxed, and perhaps there is something improper? Now, that is something which has been mitigated yet again, and it has been under the consideration of the government. Verification of the source of funds of the investor, that has also been mitigated, and the difficulties have been reduced, as have fair market value and computation of the same. So basically, it is all promotion of startups. And if I may say so here again, our chamber was seeking that there was such an exemption before. She has done some modifications. But please let the capital gains made in an investment in such startup have some tax advantage by reinvesting it in a correct asset or an asset which is acceptable as per the policy of the country and the needs of the country, and don't put it to tax. It will incentivize investors to invest more. Affordable housing, self-occupied housing is a thrust area. It is clearly laid down at the beginning. Real estate is down, we need housing, but people need housing. And real estate is one of the largest indirect creators of employment and economic growth. So here again, self-occupied property, in affordable housing, you borrow money for it, you will get an enhanced deduction for interest, thus you will get a tax advantage, which will further permit you to invest in such property. Taxing NBFC's interest in a manner similar to bank, not on mere notional accrual of the income, but taxing the real income on its receipt. NBFC has given a party money, that money is sticky, they have not received it. Then under certain circumstances, they should be permitted to pay the tax when they receive it. Because if the money is going to go bad, firstly, they are in danger, they are suffering a loss because the money will go bad. But even prior to receipt or the money hitting the cash flow, if they have to pay tax, it's a problem. And there is no real income. It's not fair. PAN and Aadhaar interchangeability, part of simplification, part of ease of living, very welcome. Pre-filled returns in concept, very welcome. It also means they are watching. It also means data is there. It is also widening of the tax net. And we are all for widening of the tax net as well as for compliance. If someone has income, he must faithfully pay his tax on it. Now, however, my friend Bimal is here from GST. There are reconciliations which are to be there in, say, GST audit. There are aspects in GST return. Now, they're all working round the clock, trying to reconcile what are the records of this assessee, what are the records of the other party, what are the differences in accounting policy, what are the difference in treatments under different accounting standards, what are items not entered in accounts but may be entered in GST, and everybody's done everything lawfully. But there are factors that lead to reconciliation. So though pre-filled is good, and it really is something which is going to be simplification positive, compliance positive. But there are going to be such matters such as reconciliations for bona fide reasons. We will have to find ways as to how to work it out. Let me give you one example. Mr. A declares his income on receipt basis. The bank will show the income, or another party may show the income or the amount payable to him on accrual basis. Now, how are you going to have a pre-filled return on this? He's not received it, that's his accepted accounting policy, he's not going to show it. So there will be a difference. Ease of assessment, simplification, ease of living, faceless assessment. We have been interacting with the tax department. This has been our request. This has been the request of others. There are going to be good practices with faceless assessment, e-assessment, even if it's done in part. It's already going on. Because then if anybody has any other intent, that would not come into play. Personal prejudices or personal weaknesses can be reduced.